Hello, it's me again. It's time to write some Haskell again. So I'm looking at Servant. I'm writing a web app where I can book time on different development environments. That's the idea behind it. So last couple of weeks I've been writing a sort of basic Servant API endpoint, I guess. First week I just copied and pasted some stuff and I got some pretty static endpoints that would just return some data. And then last week, I think it was last week, might have been the week before, but I turned it into something that fakes the database by storing it in a map. Is it even a map? I'm not sure it's a map. No, I'm looking at the code now. It's just a list, so like a list of environments. So I got an endpoint where I can create something. So I can create a new environment, and I got another endpoint where I can go and ask for the list of all the environments that have been set up, and then a third one where I can get a particular environment back. The environment's really not that interesting. It's basically, I think it's just a name. It's a name and an ID apparently. Okay, so that was kind of okay. There are a couple of things, a couple of sort of rough edges about that I'd like to look at. One is that if you don't have an environment, or if you don't have environments, it's fine, it's an empty list. It's if you ask for an environment that doesn't exist, you get null back with a 200 status code. And I change that so that you get a 404 back. And then the other thing is when you're creating an environment, you need to pass the ID in, even though it was supposed to generate it for you. And what happens is you need to specify the ID and it ignores it at the minute and then generates a new ID for you. And I want to have a look at that so that I can create an environment without passing the ID in. The problem I have with that is that the standard JSON decoder, so I'm going back from the data I passed in into the record that I'm using to store the environment, that got upset because it expected that field to be present, the ID field to be present, and it was not. So those are probably the two things I want to look at today. I don't know how long it'll take me to solve them. I have an idea on both. I've looked up some stuff on both, so hopefully it won't be too bad. But I don't really know what I'm doing, so this has got the potential to sort of drag on for a little bit. If that does work, I might start looking at creating bookings as well against environments, but we'll see how it goes. So back to the code. So this is my server so far. I have a pretty simple environment. With just a name, which is a string, and an ID, which is an ID, which is also just a string for now. But I guess in future it could be a UUID of some kind. Okay. If I bring up this, have I got the curl stuff? Yes. So if I ask for environments, I'm not running the server. Maybe I should start the server first. Okay. So I ask for environments. I get 200 OK and I get an empty list because we haven't created any. Somewhere in my history should be the post command to create them. What's the difference here? Oh, it's just creating two different names. Okay, so yeah, this is the thing where I needed to pass in invite equals x, even though it gets ignored because it comes back with the ID as 0. And if I do it again, but this time for, what's it on? Just type it again. I think it was staging. Doesn't really matter what it is. Then I get new env-id, so it ignored the x and it set up this auto-incrementing ID, which is great. And then I get them all back, get 200 OK, env-id1, env-id0, the two things I created. And I can get back individual environments based on the ID. So if I ask for something that doesn't exist, so the one I'll fix first, I get 200 OK and null, and actually I want to get a 404. Okay, so where are we? in this single environment we call find, which I think returns maybe A. Yep. So I guess the standard encoding for that, you get a maybe A, just converts it into null, not maybe A. So if you get a nothing back from calling find, it'll turn it into null. What I think I want to do, I'm looking this up, but I'm not sure, is I want to call case on that. And then if we get, just an env, then we will return that. I change this to always return an environment, I think. So we'll return that and nothing. I think what I want to do is throw something. So if I go back to here, there's an example. Is it this one? Slightly up from there. I've lost my example now. It's all about uverb. Is that what I want to do? So let's talk about exceptions you throw. So it's got uverb. That's adding extras in there. That's not really what I want to do. I think this is the wrong page I've left open. That's annoying. There is this respond. I don't know what that does. Can I just call respond? No. And then, not sure where respond comes from. Maybe I could say with status whatever and then just nothing. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but let's try that. So with status, and it's going to be at 404. Nothing. See, this is now got an error. Why is that a syntax error when it's not an example? Seems to be working. That is an at symbol, isn't it? Looks like it. So there might be a language extension I'm missing. One of these maybe. Is it a type operator, I wonder? Nope, I have that. Type families I don't think I should need, but I could copy them all and just delete them. I'm surprised. It is a missing language extension. It normally warns me about that. Okay. It is one of those two lines. Is it a type application, type family? Who even knows? It's a type application. All right. Anyway, so we now have an error coming up, which is my type is reader TDB handler environment, and this is the union XS0. So I guess this is the type we're talking about here. which is uverb. So it might be uverb get, and then with status. Let's try putting that in. So uverb get not in scope. That's confused me. It's capital get, that's why. Okay, and then we can't say maybe environment, but we will say with status I'm just looking at what this does. So with status something and then the type. So we can maybe say with status 200. With status 200 and the type. I'm going to drop the maybe out of this. Try that. Okay, that's not erroring, which is a good sign. Didn't help with this, unfortunately. So it doesn't like this respond with status 404 nothing. I wonder if I'm even going down the right route here, because it seems like a lot of effort to return 404. I wonder if I'm missing something more obvious. Oh, most of these were error-like messages that maybe they're able to abort early. Okay, so one would use through error with server error. So maybe that's what I want to do actually. Okay, actually, first of all, it looks like I can't match. Sorry, I can't mix uverbs with non-uverbs. So that's not really what I want, but also oh, this is going to be not really what I want. Let's go have a look in customizing errors. So this looks pretty similar to before. There's no uverb stuff in here. In here they are calling return, which is what I expect, and then return the content. Okay. So then they've got this error 400. I wonder where that comes from. Can I? Is that a thing I can just return? I'm gonna sort of undo the uverb stuff because I don't think that's the right way to go. So I'm just going to say it's JSON version of environment. I'm going to ditch this I don't think I need it anymore. Delete this, and can I say, oh, can you say R404? And then what does it take? I don't want the top thing, that's just improving code, it's the bottom one. So it couldn't match it with natural type server error. Okay, so how do we potentially return a server error? Handle except H is service function, which oh, this is a formatter, so that's not quite what we want. But how did they actually use the or throw the error? Well, they don't. Okay, so can we return error 404 or throw it? I don't know. It feels like there should be a simple way of saying 404. I'm sure I'm just missing something quite simple. So, oh, here's the thing I found before that I think I wanted. It's throw error 404. This is the thing that I found previously and thought was the answer. Okay. So throw error 404. This is exactly what I wanted, I think. So we can say environment with ID where's the ID? Is it I? That's not the error yet. This is the error because we haven't got code. Yeah, that's important. Qualified that. Okay, and then that's that error, I think. Okay. So now, when I ask for something that it doesn't know about, I would expect it to return 404. So let's try that. Okay, with no environments now, I'm guessing. So let's ask for one. Now I get 404 not found. Environment with ID 3 not found. Cool, I'm missing a space, but you know, these things happen. Right, so it wasn't very difficult, I just didn't know what I was doing. But that's cool. So that's the first thing I wanted to fix. Am I committing this as a go? Yes, I think I am. Okay, cool. So that's the only change that we got in there. So I can commit that. This is return a 404 status code if environment cannot be found. Actually, so that I think this 50 character restriction in git log messages is ridiculous. So let's not stick to it. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to do. So the second thing was about this creation without passing in the ID. So if I do my post, I'm just going to reorder these things a bit so that the data comes at the end, just so it's easier to edit in the future. Oops, contact is application JSON Oops, it doesn't work. Actually, I might put localhost in here, 81/environments. Oh no, I wanted both of these actually, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so let's go to the end. Oops. It's not really a shell, so things like Control K don't work. And Control E didn't work. Okay, was that worth it? Anyway, this should work, right? So we can create, so I'm going to type staging. So if we go back and try and create something type test, but don't pass in this nonsense ID thing, I think it failed, and it failed because, yeah, it I think this is when it's trying to decode the JSON struct I gave it into the record I have environment. So I've got this instance from JSON environment, and I'm just using deriving generic to generate that for me. So here is a more precise way of doing it. Well, not precise, but like hand-coded from JSON. Just drop that in. So what is object? Value object. Okay, cool. This is not a person, but this is an environment. And it's got a name. I need to put that into scope as well. Okay, get rid of these because we don't have anything else. Okay, so if we have an object, then we should try and turn it into an environment. Is that right? Can match type string to environment with environment. Okay, that's not really what I expected. So parse JSON object v person $v dot colon first name. So what have they got? They got data person. Deriving show. And we've got the environment is this stuff. Is it because I've only got one clause, I wonder? Wait, I don't think it's this, but let's try it. So we don't have a last name, but we do have env_id. Okay, so I don't think it's that. It's the same problem. It's not that. Can match type text with actual type jar strings. So a language. It's key binding out. Language of load strings. Okay, so that works, but that does not. So it's, I don't think that's going to work, but no. I wonder how you do this when there's only one field that you're interested in. Okay, so let's maybe have a look at the type of parse JSON. Goes from a value, in this case object v, to parser environment. And what's type of parser? Oh, is this because this function environment, this constructor, takes the two values here, so the ID and the string, and I'm giving it the name as the ID, and then the env is as the name. The env ID is the name. It's not really what I want to do, so it's expecting, maybe it's expecting me to, well, I need to, if I'm going to use this constructor, I need to pass the correct arguments in the correct order. So where did we have our last index? Well, maybe we could just initialize an empty ID. And then add the name on. So environment, empty ID, then the name. Is that going to work? And then if you don't give it an object, it'll just give you back nothing or an emptiness. Let's give that a go. So no idea if it's going to work or not. I have some idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't work. Okay, so running so with no environments, then we'll try and create a test. Ooh, that worked. And we'll try and create staging. Gives it a new ID. That's cool. Quite like that. So, well, I like that. It kind of makes sense. So when we are constructing, or when we are converting the JSON struct into our environment object, we're just giving it an empty value for the ID. Could even make this maybe ID, but then I kind of feel like it doesn't really make sense for it to be empty. It doesn't make sense for it to be blank either. I mean, the empty string isn't necessarily better than nothing. Don't know. That's probably okay because we only have one endpoint that lets you create these things. So we might as well just do whatever suits us, I guess. Let's go nothing. So we'll do this maybe an ID. And then that'll be just I. And then this will be just show I. I think that's probably all the errors. So just check that still works. At some point, I should work out how to test this as well. So I didn't have to keep doing it for the command line. But little steps. Okay, no environments, create test, create staging, still working. Cool. I don't know if it's worth sorting these so that they come back in ID order. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, so let's not bother. Okay. So we have added ability. I'm just going to say I don't require dummy ID value when creating environments. stream. Cool. Okay. So back into here. So we now have endpoints for creating environments, for returning a single environment, returning all environments. I might just rename this. I don't like the name. Oh, I know why I call it single. Okay, because I've got get environments. And calling it get environment is too close. I might miss that, but maybe we could call it list environments and get environments. I think that might be clearer as to what's actually going on here. So this would be list, and my CPU is suddenly spinning up. I don't know what it's doing. This can be get environment. Just make sure it still compiles. I don't even need to run it, I can just build it. I believe it's pedantic, so it might start to complain. No, it's fine. I haven't got any unused methods. Cool. Okay, so this is rename endpoints, functions, handlers. To make the intention clear, the behavior clearer. And then push that upstream. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, back into here. So we can list environments, create them, get them back. What I might try to look at now is creating bookings against those environments. So maybe you could say start time, duration, and it would be start time, start date, and then duration. So we might need some kind of date time parsing. But if we could do that, then we could store sort of bookings against the environment, and then when we return the environment, we can find all the bookings for it. We could start with that, and then we can refine that so we could return like the current booking, if there is one, and the next booking, and then we could stop the creation of bookings where it overlapped with another one. Oh god, lots of time related stuff, so this is probably going to be horrible. Okay, first of all, I'm going to rename this. So this is not last ID, but last env. And then we want, so as environments, we want bookings. I need to go right in a second. And I didn't mean to do that everywhere. Okay, single cursor again. Bookings, which is a tvar, getting a list of bookings. And last booking index, which is a tvar int. Okay. So we have a booking, let's go and write that. I might just move this down actually so the database lives closer to the type definitions. So we can say data, booking is booking, and the booking ID is maybe an ID, use the same pattern. And what are we going to have? So we'll have start time. How are we going to store this? Let's have a look at Google. See what we have available for time. A package called time seems likely. Times, clocks, and calendars. So home page. There's no home page. Okay, not really in the description. So let's do I actually missed slightly. I want to go to the Haskell 8601. Parts most commonly used ISO 8601 format. So this gives me back MT, where M is, whoops, possibly failed, and T is an ISO 8601 time. Might take a look. Okay, so if I import data time format this, I just want to play with this a little bit on from the REPL. So can we, oops, import data time format ISO 8601? I cannot, it's hidden. Time 193, okay. Let me just finish this off then. So deriving, do we need equal? Don't know. So generic. I'm going to use a similar trick for this. So we just generate the encoding of the booking, but to go from JSON into this, we will create a booking nothing, and there is nothing I'm going to pull into there. What's the problem now? To make the idea, I don't understand why that. What's this problem? No. Bit confused by that. It feels like it should be okay with it. Let me just put like a username. Booking user can be a string. I'll just make this exactly the same for now. Booking user. Okay, I don't know if that works or not, but not what I wanted to do. What I actually wanted to do was set up time, so it's time 193. So I go to my cabal. Build depends. I guess we want time. So we've had finish. Okay. So is that enough? I'm actually going to fix that error before I go any further. So, oops, let's jump to it. Okay, so the initial things we have, so we need also initial bookings, which is a new tbar.io empty list, and initial booking IDX is a new tbar.io of 0. It's going to rename this one to be initial env index. And then here we'll pass in extra stuff. So we've got initial bookings and initial booking index. Cool. Can I just replace that with new tbar.io 0? No, obviously I can't do that. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to grab this one in the middle of this pure call. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. If we go back to here, no more errors, which is good. So we'll go import data.time.format ISO 8601. Oh, cool. Right, what was I going to do with this? I was going to say something like this. So just put it in. Just make sure that is in scope. Yep. So go string to MT. So string could be something like 2021 09 23. Is it T? I can't remember. 2143 00Z. It's not actually true. Doesn't matter, it's wrong. Okay, I can't just call it like that because it doesn't know what this is, I guess. How do you use it then? I might try looking in data time format, see if there's anything else. There's not really great docs here, I don't think, on how to use the time stuff. I could do format time, maybe that's the way to go. But this is Unix cell formatting, it's not really what I want. No. Okay. Anything in data time? Documentation, data time format, but there is not really much documentation. Haskell data time format ISO 8601 example. it's creating it. Maybe I'm asking it to format the time, which is when the module is called format, but I'm actually interested in parsing it. Not a lot of examples out there. So data time format blah. Then I got format parsem, and then this thing. So I had as a 26 ISO 8601 parsem, and then a string. It's also with formatting, but I actually want to go the other way around. This is not very helpful. This is just to get a string into some kind of time format. Okay, let me just try copying the example they got here. So they have, literally, let's try doing that. Do you enable type applications in here? Oh, I use HCI. Help. Okay, oops. So I want to enable a language extension from inside GHCI. Not seeing it here. Feels like it should have been in there. Maybe it's not. Oh, hang on, we got. No, that's debugging. Sorry, that's not what we want. So can we do set something? Set -x. Language extensions, maybe. And in this case, I want type applications. I forget. Yes. Okay. So import data.time. Okay, so if we don't print it, what do we got? Oh, it just prints it anyway, doesn't it? The default action for the REPL. Okay, so I can say format parsem. I don't know what this is all about. And I also wonder why this does not work. Is it missing an argument? ISO 8601 format. Doesn't sound right because it's the wrong type for M. No, okay, but maybe this is good enough. Just out of curiosity, once you give that something that's not valid, select bam, just throws an exception. It's not really the interface I want, but actually maybe it's fine. Maybe just let servant deal with that. Okay, so this is what it ends up with. So we probably want to import data.time. Oh, has anything got built-in time formatting things? It probably does, doesn't it? Never thought of that, but maybe it's already able to parse times. Something here about time. No. Yes. Okay, so they pulled in data time clock. And then they just say it's of type UTC time. Okay. Maybe that's going to be really simple. Data time clock. In fact, let's not even do that. Let's just define it. So in booking, instead of maybe the well defined user, but we can do booking from, and this is UTC time, so capital UTC. And says I can import it for me. Yep. Okay. And oh, I wonder how it works. Let's do that for a second. So we're not going to pass it this string, but we're going to pass it booking from. Oops. Okay. I'm just going to add a couple of endpoints to this. So we'll add one that's bookings. I'm going to go request body. Type JSON. JSON. I'm just going to take a booking to post created. JSON booking. Yeah, I'll give you back the one that's just created. That's posting to bookings. Actually, before that, we might want to do the listing of bookings. So we do a GET request. It's going to return, oops, type JSON, and it is environment. Not environment, it's a booking. It's a list of bookings. Okay, so we should get some type errors down here. So we need to create list bookings and create booking. List bookings has got booking. No, not bookings. It's just a type op-m list of booking. Is that right? Yep. Let's just grab that and we'll tweak it. Probably the quickest way of doing this. So we'll grab environments. Oh, there's only one instance of that, that's annoying. So bookings. Okay, that should be enough to the listing. And they shouldn't even be missing the last thing, which should be create booking. Oh, it's hard to tell. Create booking. This is going to take a booking. It's going to run under appm single booking this time. So create booking of B is equal to, and I'll just grab this stuff as well and rename it. Okay, so we'll get the current bookings and the last booking index. We'll get previous index. New one is not going to be booking ID, so it's not going to be env ID, it's going to be booking ID. This should be what we want. So E prime, we'll replace as B prime, but that should be it, I think. Yeah, replacing those two values. Okay, so let's. I mean, does it compile? I guess it's a good question to ask at this point. It does not. Oh, because I forgot to tell it about the new function. So we also have create bookings. Create booking. Why does it do that? No. Okay, it's going to put the environments together, but the booking separately. Oh well. Does that build? Seems to build. Okay. So here we can run the server. And here we can find curl and get bookings. Okay, I'll just drop the mouse V off for now. And then we can try posting as well to bookings. So just started here. So we're going to post to bookings, and we don't give it a name, but we give it a booking from, I think it was. And then this should be a ISO8601 time format. So it's a 2021 0923. So now we're going to look up here, the example, and it is T, isn't it? Yep. So it's T and then 2200 dot colon 00.0000z. Okay, it accepted it. So we get the bookings back. Cool. It's interesting, yeah, because it's dropped the nanoseconds out. or the microseconds, whatever it was. Which is good, which suggests it actually has parsed it in some way, and it's given it an ID as well. So if we now try and create it with something invalid in here. Cool. Oh, nice error as well. It says date must be of this form. I mean, it's not quite right, so it's not that nice, but it's kind of good. So we create a new booking and we do it as 2021-09-23 T, and then we'll do it from the midday. And get all the bookings back. Okay, cool. So that's a little bit of date parsing. Gonna stop there because we hit 1 hour. But this isn't quite right. So we need more stuff in the booking. I'm going to beef this out a bit so you can say who booked it. But crucially, also it should link back to an environment. So the URL is wrong. This should be nested. Where is the URL requests? This should be nested under the environment. So I need to look up how to do that as well. So it should be like environment / whatever, and then bookings. I might just pluralize all of these so it's consistent as well. And then I think I need to, in here, when listing the bookings and when we're getting the bookings, we don't just get all of them, but we filter them by the environment. If we don't find the environment, we should be throwing in a 404. And then in here, similar thing. So we need some kind of helper for getting the environment back. And throwing a 404, but it's not found. Okay, cool. So that's what I'm going to try and pick up next week, I think. Cool. Thank you for watching. Oh, just try to date like the error message. Try just to date like the error message. Okay, let's see if that works. One last thing before we go then. So I will create it. What was the error message? It should be of type. So 2001. Okay, so must be a form plus minus this thing. I don't know what the plus minus is about. But yeah, the format it gives back to me does not work. Can I try putting a plus in there? Is that? No. Don't know what the plus minus means. But yeah, so if you use the format that comes back in the error message, when you don't put anything in, it does not work. So maybe something I could do next week as well is try and fix the error message to be correct. But yeah, cool. So anyway, I shall leave it for now. And yes, hopefully see you next week. Goodbye.